gentlemen, welcome back to In the Zone. Pete Coles, Rich Sutter. We are in a Christmas edition, folks. We are ho, ho, ho to the zone. We are really fired up to get to the show, folks. It's been such a great, great year. We're closing out the year. This is show 139. We are so grateful to our viewers, our listeners. Caught it on the radio the other day, Pete. We sounded pretty good. I hope my hat isn't throwing anybody off there, but we're in a Christmas edition here, and we're going to go, and we're going to be very festive in our approach today, Pete. So let's jump right into Pete's Corner. We love this. 3 questions from Pete that come off right off the get. I don't have any prior knowledge, and we do the best we can to knock them back over the net. Here we go, Pete.
All right, Christmas Day, after you have your meal, will you be watching football or basketball?
I think I'll throw the NBA on a little bit. We're going to talk about that slate. They have 5 games, but I'll throw some football on too. I don't spend a ton of time in front of the television on Christmas, just to be, straight up and honest. I really enjoy the day with my family, kind of turn that TV off a little bit and just mix around, exchange a ton of gifts, and make a lot of phone calls too, because we're not necessarily around a lot of our family. We have different people in different parts of the world, in the country, so we got to reach out to them as well. But a little bit of TV. But I do a lot of basketball all year long, and I really like to spend that day with my girls. So I really don't know how much of that I'll watch. But there's some like late games coming on. There's like a 10 o'clock game coming on in the NBA. Late night. I'll probably watch some of that, and we'll go through that slate. But I think, the holidays for me is a time of reflection and a time to slow down and really grab that time that you don't necessarily grab with the family in the middle of the basketball season. So to me, I learned a long time ago, pick those opportunities, pick them well, and really slow it down and use them well. It's one of the things I enjoy about the break that we have. We usually have about a 10 or a 12-day break, and that's a really cool time to reflect. Everybody's off. We can spend time together, do some nice things as a family. And I love that stuff. I'm very grounded in that. But, Pete, that's a good one. Let's jump to 2.
Okay, we're heading into the second part of the season now in college. We're not quite at the midway point for NBA. Is there any trends you're starting to notice now that are coming out of who might make the playoffs in the NBA and who might make the tournament in the NCAA?
Okay, great question. Let me give you a Final Four right now on each side. Okay? Final Four. Now, what happens in the regular season is the regular season. And as we saw last year, the Indiana Pacers really took hot in the playoffs and really climbed up, although they weren't one. Cleveland finished ahead of them. New York finished ahead of them. They had a really good run in the playoffs, and that's what got them hot, got them going. And so you can never really tell. So my NBA Final Four, obviously in the West, you got to love OKC, although they just took 2 on the chin just recently, and a second one to the Spurs, which has to be a little bit concerning right now because that will be an opponent. If you want to make it through the West, you'll have to go through San Antonio. And right now, San Antonio kind of punched them in the lip last week and gave them another shot back this one. And so they hit him in the cup, and then they hit him out later after that. So I'm impressed with this Spurs team. So if you say they want to see a lot of Wembayana, you're going to have either the Nuggets and the Spurs with OKC as that binary over there on the West Coast. Yep. Then you come to the East Coast, a little bit more wide open. Right now you have Detroit, and it would be the Knicks. And they really, really went at it last year in a very good series, so it'll be interesting to see. What could possibly happen? The Celtics could get hot. The Cavaliers could get hot and start to really play good basketball. The Cavaliers also, or the Celtics also, could find their way into the playoffs. Maybe Jason Tatum gets healthy and they can make a push late. So there's a lot of what-ifs in the East, not so many on the West. But if I had to pick those 4 right now, I'd probably go Knicks, Pistons, and I'd probably go OKC and the Spurs. I like the Nuggets. I think they're doing a good job over there, but I just don't know. I say this all the time about them. I don't know if they have the depth. I really don't know if they have the depth. And so if you wanted to talk college, and that's a great episode right there. I mean, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, obviously, everybody who's liking Arizona right now. Everybody likes Michigan. You know, I think Duke is a Final Four team. They have a very good roster, very, very solid. And as this thing moves more towards the blue bloods have it and the others don't, you know, you might see, you know, what they consider to be a little bit of a Cinderella, maybe an Iowa State finish up in that Final Four, although they're a Power 5, you know, Power 4 team. You know, they're not one of the blue bloods of the traditional Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, that ilk. You know, so you might see some of that. But right now, I think Duke, you know, is solid. I think that Kentucky's fallen off, Florida's fallen off, so there's a little bit of separation there. One team I will throw out there, though, that really could fit in there, and I say Iowa State, but this UConn team is very, very deep, very, very loaded. If they can ever get it all together health-wise, right now they're going out. Solo Ball is going to be out for a little bit of time. They've missed Taris Reed. They've missed Braylon Mullins, the enigmatic young freshman. So they've had some injuries here and there. Thank God they have the depth because they've been able to sustain it. But that's what I would say right there is probably my 4 as well. I like this UConn team, really like this Duke team, and I think that could be representative of a final. Another good question, though, Pete. Let's roll.
Okay, and so as a college coach, how much contact do you have with your players when they go home for the break, for this extended break?
Not a ton. Not a lot.
Okay.
You know, some of it might be, you know, sometimes we have to deliver bad news. You know, you have maybe academic issues and stuff like that you might have to talk to the player about. You know, a player might be leaving the team in January, which happens in Division III. And there may be some other mitigating circumstances that are familial or of other ilk, and then you have to deal with those as well. But not a ton. I really think the players like the time away, and I think the coaches do as well. If we do have contact, it's probably about something either mechanical, you know, you didn't do your housing contract, or you didn't do something that needed to be done from the school perspective, or, you know, sometimes it can be familial as well, you know, and we have, on our team, we have some people that travel from some great distances. We have South Carolina.
Oh, wow.
We have some distances that are being really, really can be challenging at times, especially at the holiday, Savannah, Georgia, you know, and so, but it really something I'm proud of in our program as well as we have 2 young men from Japan right now.
Oh, wow.
And so that can really be a tough negotiation as far as travel. So that's the exciting part about it is, you know, we'll get that 10-day respite. It's coming quick. They'll be right back here very, very quickly on the 30th. And so right now we're just trying to relax, decompress, work out a little bit, keep everything moving sharp from my perspective. But also, for me right now, I think there's an awful lot, at least in my own yard, that I got to clean up as far as my team. And that's some stuff that I've been working on right now. And I'm going to actually, it was not an emergency meeting I called with my assistant coaches, but we'll get together later today and go over some things just to prepare to get ready for the whole second semester, which is a quick 15 games right now. So, Pete, unbelievable questions. Great job. I'm going to bust into our dog bone segment and do it very, very quickly. We've got our dog bone segment here. I don't even know who makes these things, but I know Shamrock likes them. I think it says Kirkland on it.
There you go.
You know, maybe the same people that are making those golf balls that everybody likes too. Who knows? But our dog bone in the NBA is going to go to, and as soon as this happens to me every once in a while because you say a lot of things and, you know, you got to mean them, obviously, and then sometimes guys prove you wrong. I went out on Twitter the other day and I was going back and forth with some people and I called Jalen Brunson the most overrated player in the NBA. Right after that, he dropped 47 or 49 points. So I got to stand down and I got to give JB out of the Knicks dog bone because that was a great performance, and he did it with really, really good shooting averages, which is why I'm always kind of down on him. You know, we've seen the 6 for 22s and all those bad shooting nights. You know, he scores a good amount of points because he gets fouled a lot, but to me, he falls down an awful lot. He's always getting knocked to the ground, and that's just not something that, you know, I just don't see him as that guy. You know, I never really did, to be honest with you. Melvin Council of Kansas hit 9 3-pointers the other night. Not something that he's been known for, so there's been a tremendous amount of work put into that. And right now, without Darren Peterson in the lineup, he's really been carrying this Kansas backcourt and doing an amazing job. Two of the best players in the country right now, both hailing from Rochester, New York. But that's my dog bone segment for the week, Pete. And we love that segment. You got to be a dog to get a dog bone in this circuit, baby. All right, so we're going to go to the Power 15 in the NBA,
All right,
and we are going to smoke it out. Oh, Pete's in, and he's doing it unbelievable. We had a little bit of technical glitch today, and so Pete was typing away frantically as we went into the show here today. And Pete, don't miss a step, folks.
I was doing Pete 3 questions, and I was typing.
Pete, don't miss a step. Power 15. This has not changed. I do not see it changing for a while, although now you look, they were 25-1, now they're 26-3. Took 2 on the chin just recently, and that's good, actually, for the NBA. You don't want them to run away. You don't want them to hyperspace. You want to have a little bit more competitive action in the West. If they get away any further than where they are right now, you're going to see them just blow the whole thing out. And I don't think people are going to be interested in that too much. So keep an eye on that dynamic. 26-3. Almost 30 games in. I mean, that's unbelievable. All right, the Detroit Pistons, 23-6. Nobody, and I mean nobody, would have taken 23-6 on the table with this team in the beginning of the year. Now you have it, folks. It's right there. Almost 30 games in, and the Detroit Pistons are leading the Eastern Conference Final. Pete, it even spurred me to write a Christmas carol for the Detroit Pistons. We're going to cover it in this show in a very few minutes, folks. You're going to have a great show today. San Antonio Spurs, 21-7. Wembanyama, Castle, they've got a great nucleus. Now the NBA is trying to cut that off with maybe no more protected picks and all this stuff. They're out of their minds right now, the NBA. They're trying to do so much stuff to try and stop people from tanking. It's unfrickin' believable. How do you stop teams from purposefully losing so they get draft picks? Unbelievable where this league is at right now. Denver Nuggets 21-7. Adelman thrown out of the game the other night, and I think he's going to get a lot of people don't realize this, but he's going to get a lot of credit in his locker room for this because in his mind, I think Luka's been getting pounded this year, and some of the film that I've seen, they're playing him very, very physically, and the NBA referees seem to be looking at it a little bit and not calling as much as that. He turns to one of the referees the other night, and he goes, "Are you effing watching this?" And he just loses it. I can be with him, man. I can be with him, because that happens. You get excited and you want to get it. He lost his handle a little bit, got thrown out of the game, got teed up twice, got thrown out of the game. I'll tell you what, I'm going to tell you right now, his players love that. They'll even take a loss in that situation, get them fired up, get them focused, everybody on the same page. The players are going to love that. I tell you that right now. All right, New York Knicks 20-8 and climbing. Right now, you can see them and the Pistons tightening. There's a game and a half, 2 games between them, and it's a long 50 games to go. Los Angeles Lakers 19-8. I don't know about this team, though. I think they're one step away from a nervous breakdown, to be honest with you. I think the LeBron James thing is being problematic there, and I think Luka and Reeves and some of these other guys that are really good players say, man, we played better without him. We played better in the beginning of the year without him. Right now, the record's holding solid, but I don't know. I don't
doubt.
I'm just feeling something. I don't know. I got my spider sense tingling about the Lakers right now. Minnesota Timberwolves 19-10 in the 7th spot. That's where I like to see them. I could see them even rise a little bit more. They got a really, really good young talented team. Get Rudy Gobert back, and I think they're going to be able to make a run. All right. The Houston Rockets 17-9. I think it's great, but I think there would be some people that might say they're underachieving just a little bit right now. Some of the frustration has spilled over with their coach, Ime Udoka, getting teed up and getting fined pretty significantly for his criticism of the officials. Boston Celtics, folks, they love it. They're in the 9th spot, and they've been steadily inching and creeping up. Jaylen Brown is playing out of this world right now. And you've also got Derek White. They're on a 2-man game right now. They're on 2-4 time, 2-5 time right now, and they're really, really just pushing it. They got Nehemiah Queta in the center role. They've got some other players playing a very solid role. But this team lost Porzingis, Tatum, Horford, and it's really a pretty good sign to see them buoyant 18-11, and right now, one of the hottest teams in the NBA. All right, the Philadelphia 76ers hanging around, waiting for their guys to show up, hanging around, waiting for their guys to get healthy. It ain't going to happen. Trade those stiffs, get them out of town, and start over. Your backcourt is fabulous. Work from there. Get rid of those guys that don't play. They don't show up. Get rid of them. You're seeing this trickle into college now, Pete. We talked about Uniball last week. Darren Peterson hasn't played in months for Kansas right now. Getting big NIL money. Does the school have the ability to get that money back is what I'm concerned about. All right, Orlando Magic, we digress there for a second. Orlando Magic, 16-13. Like to see more from this team. They're not a 500 team talent-wise. Have had some injuries, but right now they should be doing better than they are right now. Toronto Raptors, this is an overachieving team right now, 17-13, doing really good stuff. I like this team. I'm a big Scotty Barnes fan, folks. Phoenix Suns, 15-13. Better pray nothing don't happen to Booker. You better pray nothing don't happen to Booker, because if it does, you don't have much else there. Cleveland Cavaliers, this has to be the most disappointing team in the NBA right now. The Cavaliers at 14th after finishing last year as the Eastern Conference finalist. They won the whole thing, best of record in the regular season last year. To find them at 14 at 16-14 is a little bit disconcerting. You get the Miami Heat, 15-14. Pete, there's a lot of teams that ain't in our 15 that people thought would have great years. You got the Golden State Warriors not in there right now. There's a little bit of kerfuffle over there with Jimmy Butler and some of that stuff. We'll see how that turns out. Pete, we're going to run right to the MVP and right to the Rookie of the Year. All right, the MVP right now, I'm going with Joker. He's averaging a triple-double. I get the SGA thing. I get it. But I just watched the way the referees, the way that Adelman had to go after the refs because they're letting Joker get absolutely knocked and beat to the ground. And then you watch what happens when people sneeze on SGA. It's just a little different calling right now. And I think right now I'd go with Joker being in that triple-double stance. SGA number 2, Luka, Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey, and Donovan Mitchell. That's a good 6. It's a good 6. I think that's going to be handled at the top, though, in the 1, 2, 3 spot. I think it'll be handled up there. Rookie of the Year, holding steady, Con Knuppel from the Hornets. Duke going one-on-one here, 1-on-2. We got Flag in the 2 spot. He's been rising, playing better, still looking over his shoulder for his teammates, although Anthony Davis showed up the other night and had a monster game. All right, I got Derek Queen, VJ Edgecombe, Cedric Coward, and Max Renaud. He's playing fabulous for the Sacramento Kings. I know there's a lot of guys who like to place wagers and do that stuff. Keep an eye on that kid. If he starts playing better, he's going to be a real Rookie of the Year candidate. All right, NCAA players pulling out. Is this the NBA? Load management. Darren Peterson hasn't been around. Not only that, now we're bringing in the January surprises that used to be pretty much loaded up in a Division III world. You'd sit around in January checking rosters because people would pull people in from God knows where. Well, now the January surprise has absolutely spread to D1, and right now they got guys going in. They got guys going out. And Oklahoma, with the wind, where the recruits come sweeping down the plain, are signing a Russian player who has 1 semester of college eligibility left. He's been playing in the pro leagues in Russia for a number of years already. Oklahoma's bringing him in at the break. Eligible, guess when, Pete? Immediately. All right.
Good Lord.
Con Knuppel is the fastest rookie to 103 balls. It took him 29 games. Lauri Markkanen of the Jazz, it took him 41. NBA loves the Lakers. Pete, I've been telling you this for years. Listen to this. Free throw differential since 2022. This is obscene.
Is it going to make me ill?
It should make a lot of people ill. Okay? Number 1, Lakers in differential. They shot more free throws than the other team. 1,367. free throws more on a plus minus. Here's who is number 2, the Heat. And how many did they get in the number 2 spot? 645.
Oh, my God.
There's a differential of 722 free throws right there. The Magic came in 3rd. What did they post? Plus 432. That's a differential of 935. And that's the number 2 and 3 team. We didn't ask who was in the 30 spot. They're getting wiped out.
400.
Oh, they're getting wiped out. Oh, Pete, I love this one. The top 10 dirtiest of all time. The Dirty Goat Award right here, right before Christmas. Lou Dort of OKC. I was a little surprised to see him on this list, but hey, he was number 1, all right? They got dirty, and I mean dirty. Draymond Green in the number 2 spot.
If he didn't make the list, I'd be shocked.
John Cena, I just sent Pete a clip the other day. It was a personal thing because Pete's a huge John Cena fan, and he just walked out of the ring for the last time, retired, left his stuff in the ring, kind of an emotional moment, you know, and that's what we're waiting for Draymond to do next. He's going to take John Cena's place in the wrestling world. Karl Malone, he was dirty as the day is long.
Yeah.
Gave Isaiah Thomas 60-plus stitches with an elbow one time. Dennis Rodman in the 4 spot. I didn't agree with this. I think Rodman played hard. I think he got after it. He was physical, and he used every single trick in the book to get by, but he was basically, I thought, by and large, a pretty straight-up player as far as that. You wouldn't want him covering you, but he was. I thought he played it pretty straight. That's Dennis Rodman. Number 5, Lambeer. I don't know how he's not number 1 on everybody's list in the world. These kids that put this list together must be too young. Because anybody who watched this guy play, Bill Lambeer, Notre Dame's finest, he is the dirtiest, and I mean dirtiest. He makes Draymond Green look like a sanitary wipe.
He's the Ric Flair of the NBA.
Oof, no doubt. How about Ron Artest? They call him, he changed his name to Meta World Peace. Oh, my God, was that a misnomer? John Stockton saw his name on this list. People always thought he was dirty. I know he played hard, and he was a 6'1 guard, you know, that played in the NBA for years. Markieff Morris, Grayson Allen, he got to be higher. He's got to be higher. He's the Duke protege. He's as dirty as the day is long. Rasheed Wallace, more technicals than anybody in the world. I got a few of my own here that they didn't have on the list.
Honorable mentions?
How about honorable mention for dirty Dylan Brooks? He punched Steph Curry in the sternum while he was shooting. You cannot have this list without Rick Mahorn of the Detroit Pistons. They were called the Broad Street Bullies or whatever they were called for a reason. Anthony Mason of the Knicks, I wouldn't necessarily agree with that, but Jeff Ruland, formerly of Iona, Jim Valvano's huge signing, wow, he was dirty too. Zion sighting in uniform, Pete, he was in uniform. Pelicans versus the Mavs, Queen versus Flag, the really, really good rookie stuff. Queen goes 19-10 and 6 assists. Flag, decent game, 16-6 and 6. Anthony Davis sighting, Pete. He had 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 2 assists. He's got to be the most rested guy in the NBA. No wonder he's playing well. Celtics continue to ride that law firm of Jaylen Brown and Derek White. The 1-2 punch has been really, really good for them. Adam Silver is looking for ways to prevent tanking. We gave it to you. Watch in the zone, Mr. Commissioner. Watch in the zone. We've already given it to you. Open up the draft to all 30 teams. Stops tanking immediately. Open up your lottery draft to all 30 teams. The second piece of it is stop sending your best players to the worst franchises. Who wants to watch these guys wallow down with the Pelicans? Zion Williams been down in there for years. Then it's no good for the league either. Let the league come back, because here's what it'll do, Pete. This is what Adam Silver, it might perk his ears up now. It'll allow people to stop criticizing you for fixing this thing because people think you're fixing it. But the genius of it all is, Adam, you can still fix it, and they'll never suspect you. I love it. I love it. Pete, I don't know if you're ready for this, but I got my Detroit Christmas Hallmark version right here. You think the fans are ready for this? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Got to have a happy ending.
It's a good ending. It is. It's a very good ending. And I was proud of it, because I think it hit them in the nose, right where they are. All right, here it is. A Detroit Christmas. Not long ago, the Pistons were bad. Fans were unhappy, and the children were sad. A losing streak of 28 straight set a league record that will be hard to replicate. They brought in Cade and a few other guys, and soon their fortunes began to rise. Now they sit atop the East, looking like a Motown beast. Will they ask Santa for help on the trading deadline, or will they keep what they have right now on the sideline? When you're number one, you have to watch out, because someone is always trying to steal your clout. Michigan winters bring lots of blizzards, but at least they can say, hey, we're not the Wizards. In the playoffs, they gave the Knicks all they could handle, despite the fact that they traded Julius Randle. From last to first is quite the feat. Detroit Pistons are now hard to beat. They're asking Santa for the will to sustain so that in June they can break out the champagne. Send a message to the league that this is no prank. Tell the Jazz, Pelicans, and Nets you don't have to tank. Play better and rebound the ball. Get in the zone when the draft comes to call. Merry Christmas, everybody in Detroit. Merry Christmas. Pete, I got more baselines. Luka Laker, Luka, out with a calf strain. We'll see and keep you informed on that one. Calf strain can be problematic. NBA and FIBA moving closer to NBA Europe expansion. Nobody wants it. Bulls have taken the old-fashioned distinction. The Bulls and the Hawks entered into an old-fashioned NBA defensive struggle. I'm just kidding, folks. They gave up 152 to 150, 300 points in an NBA game, 302. It was 83-73 at halftime. Eighth game in NBA history with two teams over 150, and they didn't even have Porzingis. Poor Porzingis. He's ill again. Christmas Day festivities, Pete. It's Festivus for the rest of us. Cavaliers and the Knicks at 12. Spurs and the Thunder at 2:30. Great game. Mavericks and Warriors at 5. Rockets and Lakers, 8 p.m. And here's the late one. Timberwolves and the Nuggets starting a game at 10:30. NBA, they're in your living room all the day, Pete. All right, we go to Arizona at top of our Super 25, Pete. Let's see what we got going. We had a song where we were singing on the show a little while back that said, Arizona, take off the rainbow shades and play some defense. Well, this team got the message. 12-0. I have them number one. I don't know how anybody else doesn't, because we put them number one before they beat Auburn and before they beat Alabama, in addition to UConn, Florida, and UCLA. Nobody's got a 5 like that. Nobody. Look around. Look around. Tell me Michigan has that same 5. Tell me Iowa State has that same 5. Tell me Vanderbilt has that same 5. They don't. They don't. That's why Arizona's been, I think it's 4 or 5 weeks right now, Pete, sitting atop the Super 25, and we ain't taking them off till somebody does. Michigan 11-0, they're climbing. Great team. I'm not here to to disparage Michigan by not picking them number one. Everybody else picked them number one. I just don't see the same quality of wins. And I'm not a huge Elliot Cadeau fan. I think I've made that known. Iowa State 12-0. The Cyclones are absolutely blowing the roof off of everybody's arena right now, playing great basketball. And T.J. Otzelberger, over the past 3 years, has really risen into the ranks of a really, really high-profile, big-time basketball coach. All right, Connecticut, we got them, Pete, 12-1. Watch where the Huskies go, and don't eat that yellow snow. but they're 12-1, Pete, and they look good.
It was good they got punched in the mouth early.
It was a good game. They lost to Arizona.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
At home. And if they had Taris Reed and they had Braylon Mullen in those games, that could have gone either way because it was a very, very close game.
Yep.
But what also did happen in that game was Arizona, Koa Pete, and their front line punched Danny Hurley's team in the mouth. Just like you said, Pete.
Yeah.
Just like you said.
They needed that.
That can be good.
Yep.
That can be good. They recalibrated. They're good. I think the Big East is going to be interesting this year because I'm not in love with this St. John's team, and I really, really do like this UConn team. All right, Houston in the 5-hole, 11-1, probably the weakest schedule of everybody here. They're starting to catch it. They'll enter into the league soon and get caught up. But right now, they probably, of all these top 10 teams, have had the worst schedule, and they don't leave Houston rarely. They rarely leave Houston. They'll play neutral, but they haven't, to my knowledge, until January comes, Houston doesn't play an away game. That's ridiculous. All right, Duke 11-1. That's why we kept them in the 5 spot. Duke 11-1. They lost to Texas Tech, and they absolutely blew the game. The game was in Madison Square Garden, big-time arena, big-time game, 17-point win. Victory. They were up. They're ready to go with 16 minutes left in the game. They're up 17. And give Texas Tech a lot of credit. Christian Anderson, their backcourt really, really lit it up. Jacob Toppin had a good game too, but their backcourt really, really sustained them, brought them out. They blew Duke, again, blowing leads for these guys seems to be the only way that they're losing. But it goes back to last year's NCAA tournament where they snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. They snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. And they're doing it again here with Texas Tech the other day. Down 17 with change to go, and they didn't sustain. And they're trying to go to Boozer a lot. They got to figure out some other options there possibly. Vanderbilt 12-0. Byington. Okay, last year we were very, very high on this guy because we knew they had a good bag. They knew it was going to take a little time. But this guy can flat out coach. Byington can flat out coach. They do a great job with their offense and really isolate on the players that they have and really accentuate their positives as well as do a great job of hiding their liabilities. Purdue 11-1, really good team. This is a good, solid 10. Right there at the top, really, really solid 10. Braden Smith playing good basketball. The one game that they lost was when they got jammed up with some athletic guards that pushed him around a little bit, and we'll see if that continues. Gonzaga, 12-1, a really, really solid team. They're going to be good, and I don't know that they're going to get clipped again now that they're out there. So you're going to see Gonzaga rise. You're going to see Duke rise because they're not going to get clipped as much as some of these other teams are about to get clipped. Michigan's about to get clipped in the Big Ten. I got news for you. Houston's going to get clipped in the Big 12. SEC's a little bit down right now, but they'll rise and they'll get better. But right now, they're experiencing a little bit of down because they had been really, really high for a while as well. Michigan State 11-1, North Carolina 12-1, BYU 12-1. Matty Harrigan, my guy back in New York, loves the Bonsa, and there's not a lot of people that can convince me right now that there's not a lot to love. The Brockton native, we have him as our number 1 pick, and to be honest with you, we don't think it's real close. We don't think it's real close. I know a lot of people, so many people, it's the parroting that happens. Darren Peterson. How can you say Darren Peterson's the number 1 pick when you haven't seen him play? He's played 1 game, 2 games this year, and he sat out the entire time. To me, with some really, really questionable injuries, that came about as he had cramps one day, then he didn't feel good another day, and then it was a hamstring. I mean, he just went from one thing to the next. What that says to me is his agent can't get it together either because they can't come up with a coherent, straight story. What's going on there? I really think that that's something, we're getting to the midway point, as Pete alluded to, and this guy's yet to play. And they're tied up $1 million in him. More than that, they tied up huge money in these guys, and then they don't want to play. It's unbelievable. What's to stop somebody? This is what I was thinking about the other day. What's to stop somebody from taking, because the NBA mandates that they have to go for 1 year, right?
Yep.
Got to go into college for 1 year. You can be a one and done. They wrote up this thing and they made it into a kind of a Holly. Oh, he's a one and done.
They didn't mean 1 game.
Well, that's what people now extrapolated out of it, though. Okay, you're going to restrain my trade and make me go to college. There's a lot of guys that got clipped up in that too. A lot of guys that when they went to college, people said they're not as good as we thought they were. And then they lost money. They lost draft position when if they could have went in right off the get-go, the NBA people don't do their homework well enough, they're going to get schooled. But now they want to push them in for this one and done. Nobody goes to school for 1 year, folks. Nobody goes to college for 1 year. It's a joke, okay? And now they make these guys go in instead of going to the draft. And now you got guys coming from all over the place. You know, Europe, pro leagues, G League, doesn't matter. Grab a guy in January. Grab him as soon as you can. Put him in anytime you want. I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't know how these coaches are even handling these locker rooms right now. They're just maybe like such pro setups too, you know. Come and go. A guy gets traded, you know, a new guy comes in. I don't get it, but man, it's really, really difficult to say that you like it. You know, I think they're in a bad spot right now, college basketball. North Carolina, BYU, Louisville, 10-2. Virginia climbing. I like Virginia, 11-1. Good coach, Odom. His dad was an assistant there with Coach Jim Larinaga. 15 USC. They're 12-1. And the guys with the Eurythmics and the Eurythmics, you know, that great band from the 80s, I think they're all crazy. You know, they have this team 38th, 35th. I don't get it. Iowa 10-2. This guy just wins games. He just wins games, that coach. Nebraska 12-0. The mayor. We'll see if they sustain when they get to league, but man, they're doing well right there. And the Peyton Sanford is really, really doing well for them. You got Alabama 9-3. They got 3 very, very credible losses, and I have them at 18. 19, Georgia, Coach White, 11-1. They got a very talented team. Check out Dominique Wilkins' son on this team. He's just like his dad, an absolute human highlight film. Miami, 11-2. I like this team. Miami's got some guys they brought in. They got, you know, lost a few guys like Jaleel Bethea, you know, who's at Alabama right now, but then they brought in Trey Donaldson. They brought in Malik Reneau from Indiana, and they really, really are cooking with gasoline right now. Tennessee, 9-3, really bad loss in the Carrier Dome, but other than that, they've recalibrated. Arkansas, 9-3, I'm hanging with them because I like this team, and they've got 3 very credible losses as well. UCLA moves to 10-3. They've got some injuries. Donovan Dent's been in and out of that lineup, but Sky Clark and Donovan Dent going to compete for one of the best backcourts in the country before it's all said and done. Illinois 9-3, Kansas 10-3. Melvin Council from St. Bonaventure is absolutely carrying the load there right now. Here's out of our poll, OOP, out of our poll. St. John's 7-4. No way we're putting them in the top 25. Kentucky 8-4. Florida 8-4. Indiana, we bounced out 10-3. The young and winless is off the air, Pete, for the year. Mississippi Valley State is usually our people, but they have a Division III win that they're claiming as one of their wins, and so they're taking themselves off the young and winless for the year. They beat MUW, which is Mississippi University for Women. Ask me how I know that, Pete, because we beat them last year in the Oneonta tournament in upstate New York. Okay? This is not a credible win, folks, but right now, everybody is off. But I'll tell you right now, too, some of these teams, we're going to go through them a little bit in a few minutes, but some of these teams are being used as absolute ATMs by their athletics department right now. They got 6 games on there. They're getting $75,000 for it a clip, and they're no shot at winning the game. We're going to go through a little bit of that. Here's a little bit of a portal potty update. Pete and I aren't really portal potty guys. We watch it, we follow it, but we ain't really portal potty guys. We think it's nuts, actually, the way this goes on right now. 4 schools, 4 different years, everybody up and out, calling guys in their dorm rooms, calling guys at their senior prom. I just think it's crazy. I really do. But here's some of the ones that worked out, all right? Yaxel Lendenberg, UAB to Michigan. He might be player of the year in the country. Chad Baker-Mazzara, he was at Auburn. Had a great run at Auburn. Can't understand why he left, but he went to USC. One of the reasons that they're 12-1. Bennett Sturtz, he rides with his coach wherever they go. They were D2. Then they were at Drake. Now they're at Iowa. Great climb Really good story, and none of that would have been possible without the portal party. I got to give it that credit at least. Melvin Council, my God, St. Bonaventure guard, went to Kansas, and he is absolutely lighting the whole Southwest on fire right now. 9 threes the other night. Price Sandifort, this is the young man we just talked about, went from Iowa to Nebraska. At Iowa, he averaged 2.3, 8.8, and did not start. Right now, he's been 12 for 12 starting for Nebraska, and he's averaging 16.3 a game. Amazing. Robert Wright III. Oh, my God, came out of Baylor. He's at BYU with that big bag of money they're handing out over there. Imagine being able to throw the type of money that they did at Dabonsa and still keep Richie Saunders and Robert Wright and the other guys on their team, Kaida, who's a big kid inside. Keep all those guys happy, too. What kind of bag you think they got? They got a big old bag stuffed with pictures of the president, baby. Jacoby Gillespie, Maryland to Tennessee, really helping Tennessee there, and he's one of the best guards in the country right now. Morez Johnson went from Illinois to Michigan. One of the reasons Michigan's doing good, you take Morez Johnson and you take Yaxel Lendenberg, and you say, man, these guys know what they're doing. Everybody else, this is what the new game is. It's evaluation, folks. Everybody's spending money, but what are you spending your money on? What did you get in return for your investment? And if you're telling me you got Morez Johnson and you got Yaxel Lendenberg, I'd say you guys are cooking with gasoline. Ryan Conwell went from Xavier to Louisville. Big win the other day for Xavier over Georgetown. Malik Renault, just aforementioned, Indiana over now to Miami, really helping them. And he also gained about, I'd say, 74 degrees in the process of that move as well. Lamar Wilkerson came from Sam Houston State, and he is playing really well for the Indiana Hoosiers right now. Here's one, folks. Henry Visar from Arizona, 7'3". Say it again, Pete. 7'3". He's one of the reasons with Caleb Wilson that North Carolina is resurgent right now. And you got Silas DeMary. He's the UConn guard that came from Georgia. Georgia's 11-1. Could you imagine if DeMary stayed? And can you now imagine, wow, UConn with the depth that they have? Absolutely unbelievable. Pete, we got upset central here, and I'm talking upset central. Notre Dame, Coach Shrewsbury. I don't know, folks. If you keep losing games like this, you're going to have to pack up your bags.
You may have to give out a Pepto-Bismol award.
Oof. This is definitely going to be one, Pete. Upset Central, Purdue Fort Wayne over Notre Dame. The Mastodons out of the Horizon Conference. They were ranked 215 in Torvik going into the game. Obviously, that game's going to help them a little bit, but Notre Dame, my God, Purdue Fort Wayne? I didn't even know they were D1. I had to look them up. Okay, the doctor has spoken, resident guru Jim Engelhart, one of my good friends out of St. Bonaventure. He says that the gaps in college basketball are growing, and the doctors bring in receipts and facts with them. The doctor says, look at the Michigan-LaSalle game. The bookies laid it at 40. And you'd sit there going, this is a mid-major team out of the A-10 playing a big game in Michigan. Their guys are going to be so excited. They'll cover the 40 easy. Nah, they got beat by 50.
Ooh.
It was a TV, this is TBF, TV blowout factor, television blowout factor. Do you think people are watching that game?
No.
How long? It was over from the very beginning. How long do you think they watched it? Oh, my God. And then you got the Duquesne. So now you're going, okay, that's a high major, the best of the best, Michigan, number one in the country according to everybody except us. And now you're going and saying they beat LaSalle by 50. Mid-major. No bueno. But now let's go mid-major to low major, where Duquesne plays Canisius, the Golden Griffs, Nothing golden about them right now. 103-59. 44-point differential in that game. So the point is that these gaps are there. They've always been there, but now they're growing and expanding rapidly. I agree with the doctor 100%. Pete, this is one I wish I didn't have to cover, but we're going to call it losing your Cooley. Okay? Ed Cooley, coach of Georgetown. Good guy by everybody's admissions. I met him once or twice and seemed like a real good guy, but he's in the middle of a game the other day against Xavier. They're losing, and he turns around and in frustration has a water bottle in his hand, turns around and wings the water bottle into the crowd. Bad news also, unfortunately, it clips a young kid sitting there with his mom. Okay, he's been suspended from one game. Cue up the lawyers, cue up the settlements, take out your checkbook, Coach Cooley, and probably not going to come at a good time because your team isn't very good right now. You're bearing and wearing some of that frustration, but right now you might be writing a significant check to this family and also be losing your position at the same time. Got to maintain it, folks. All right? It's unfortunate. We do operate in that very, very high emotion zone. But, right now, it's going to be rough. All right? Let's go. The Huskies are no solo contendere. All right? The Huskies are no solo contendere. Right now, another injury to the Huskies, solo ball. Their start two guard, and the really bad part about it was he sat out the game the other day, but he's coming off a high career 26 against Butler, playing really, really, really good basketball as well. All right, Pete. The Duke Blue Devils missed a rare opportunity to keep on rolling, stay undefeated, and stay right at the top. We probably would have had them at 2. They were up 17 against Texas Tech. Jacob Toppin matched up against Cam Boozer. Absolute great matchup. And LaJuan Watson, Christian Anderson absolutely took over the game for Texas Tech. They had 20 and 27, respectively, combined for 47 points in Madison Square Garden. Boozer, this kid can play, man. This kid can really, really go. He's one of the reasons this team's as good as it is. 23, 8 rebounds and 7 assists. Madison Square Garden against, most people consider him to be a first-round draft pick. Jacob Toppin, who had 19, 10, and 0 assists. Okay, Toppin doesn't pass much, I guess, but 0 assists for him. But I really, really like the Boozer twins and the way they handle their business. Duke blew a 17-point lead. They were up 58-41 with 16 minutes to go. They're just a really good team. They're going to be young. They are young, a little mercurial. There's going to be some bump and grind, but when they get into the ACC, there's only a handful of teams in there that are going to be able to stay on the floor with them. Going to be a lot of blowouts there. UNC, they got tested. They went up against Ohio State. Really, really good matchup for them. They've been coasting along, doing very, very well, but now we're going to find out if they're for real. They won 71-70 over Ohio State. Caleb Wilson, 20, 15, 2 assists, 3 blocks. He's everywhere. I have him and DeBonsa most likely 1 and 2 right now. I want to see more of Boozer, but the pieces that are holding me back for Boozer a little bit is when he gets matched up against guys his own size and his own physicality. He seems to struggle a little bit. Florida had him locked up for a little bit. He's been locked up at other occasions as well. Comes out of it, plays strong, but the NBA is full of guys like Boozer. Okay, full of guys of his size. So that's what scares me a little bit about that. Bruce Thornton of Ohio State, 16-4-4, but certainly got outplayed by Cam Boozer. All right, Pete, we're going to call this segment A Long Walk Home, and this is what we were alluding to before, where some of these teams are absolutely program ATMs right now. We're going to allude to a couple of them right here. Binghamton's 2-10, 3-10. Excuse me. They're number 363 in Torvik. Mississippi Valley State 1-12. The victory is over a Division III team. 364. The only Coppin State 2-14. They miss Fang Mitchell. They're 365, which puts them DFL in all of college basketball. They're dead freaking last in all of college basketball with a 365. Maine, a little surprised on this one. They're 1-13. They have Ace Flagg, Cooper Flagg's brother. Signed him. The program was moving in the right direction, but, man, they have gotten absolutely clipped out of the gate. No good right now. They're number 359. Niagara, 3-9. Ryder, 1-10. That's a MAC team. 347. That's really low. This is what happens in your league. When some of these teams fall off, they're a 347. Now you're playing a 347. That means it's no good. Not going to help you. If you beat them, it ain't going to help you. If they beat you, it's going to destroy you.
Yeah.
Okay, Stonehill, 3-10. A little bit of a jump from Division II, and that's been rough. Bryant, 3-10. They just were in the NCAA tournament. New coaching staff, new change. We'll see. Keep an eye on that one. They're 336 in Torvik. Loyola Chicago. This is probably one of the most disappointing teams. I don't know if people believe in mysticism and stuff like that, but they lost their long-time basketball guru, Sister Jean, in the beginning of the year at 106, and they haven't been winning since. They're 5-8 right now at 327 for an A-10 team. No bueno for the rest of the league. Alcorn State 1-10. North Florida 2-10. Jackson State 1-11. All right, here we go with the ATM Pete. This is who Jackson State has played. Jackson State now. Okay, they got a budget that's like maybe $600 for recruiting, maybe. You know, they get a Happy Meal. If they really want the kid, they order the Happy Meal. You know, here they go. They lost to Auburn by 46. Lost to Northwestern by 40. Lost to Arkansas by 54. Houston by 42. Louisville by 36. Illinois by 58. Here's what I would tell the people at Jackson State. That's like 6 of the top 25 almost. The people who aren't in the top 25, they pay too. So find some people that aren't that good that pay. Because right now you just took 6 teams and just handed your team 6 L's. Your team started the season 0-6. So you could collect $50,000 to $75,000 per game. That's unbelievable. In 6 games, they're minus 276 points. That's an average of losing by 46 points a game.
Yeah, but, Coach, when it's doing this out there, the precipitation is falling.
It's certainly easing the skids, no doubt. All right, Pete, I think I got a minute.
No, you got a couple of minutes. We started late.
Oh, we did. All right.
What about 5 or 6?
5 or 6? All right, good, because I got Player of the Year stuff for you and Rookie of the Year stuff in college basketball. And right now, in the zone, we're going to give it to you. We think that the Player of the Year and the Rookie of the Year are going to be the same person this year.
Wow.
That's what I believe. I believe that one of either A.J. DeBonsa, Caleb Wilson, or Cam Boozer will win Player of the Year. And, of course, now you extrapolate one of those 3. If they win they win Player of the Year, then they have to win Rookie of the Year. It's pretty much a done deal. All right, so right now I have A.J. DeBonsa. He's also number 1 on our draft board. Yaxel Lendenberg, right now, Michigan. If you stopped it right now and said it's over, Lendenberg would be a Player of the Year right now, if you stopped it right now. Cam Boozer, unbelievable. But again, some of these teams, especially you look at some of these teams that are in the SEC and the Southwest Conference, the Big 12, I mean, they got guys, man. I mean, they got guys. And you look at Cam Boozer going up against Texas Tech's front line the other day. Good game, solid game, you know, but when he matches up with guys of that ilk, he really has a little bit of difficulty. Jacob Toppin, this guy's unbelievable. When you catch him and you say, okay, great college player, could win Player of the Year, could be the Warden Award winner for sure. But then you look at his draft capabilities and say there's a lot of translatable issues right now. So one of the guys that I'm really, really kind of perusing on my draft board right now, because it's all starting to take shape right now, is we're going to look at Jacob Toppin and see exactly where he fits into this thing. A lot of people have him as a lottery pick. A lot of people have him in the 15 to 25 range. and some people have him pushed all the way to the back of the first round. So there's not as much movement on other people as there is with top end. We want to keep our eye on that. Caleb Wilson, this guy, he just reminds me of Vince Carter. I think he's going to be a good pro because when you get an athlete and a really good basketball player like that out into a more open floor than he's in right now, he's going to be really good. That's what happens when you go from college to the pros. College, you see zones, you see double teams, triple teams. You get to a good team in the pros, not going to have the ability to double team you. Okay, Pete, Rookie of the Year. Who you liking?
I don't know. This is a tough one this year because we had some good players out there.
It's really
The class was pretty decent.
that top is really tough.
Yeah.
With the young guys. And if you go into the bottom of the young guys who really won't get any consideration because of the big three, there are some really, really good stories out there. I'm going to give a few of them to you right now. A.J. DeBonsa is the guy I think wins it both. I think he's Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And I think he's Rookie of the Year. I'm just going out on a limb. Caleb Wilson could also do the same thing. If North Carolina keeps rolling in the ACC like they are right now, they have Visar 7-3. They've got good guards. I mean, they got a bad injury to Seth Trimble. I don't know what his status is right now, but if they could ever get him back, this team could be a good team and make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. We'll have to see. All right, but again, that's over on the rookie side too. He's on the Player of the Year side. He's on the rookie side, both of them. Here's one that's really been I say nobody's stock has risen as much as this young man's in the entire year. Kingston Flemings, the freshman guard from Houston. They just love this young man down in Houston. And although Kelvin Sampson's been tough on his two freshmen, this young man has risen up everybody's draft board really, really quickly. Most NBA scouts, when you ask them, they just answer you quickly with a very, very succinct answer. That is, he's top 10. He's top 10 right now. Kingston Flemings, remember the name. Here's another one for you, Darius Acuff. Those guys might be, I think there's a lot of guards that are really good this year. You got LeBaron Phelan, Tameen Lipsey. You've got some really, really good guards this year. That doesn't even include Donovan Dent. Some of these other great, Josh Hubbard. They got some great, great guards this year. Where they fit into the draft thing, is a whole nother thing. But Acuff's one of them. Darius Acuff from Arkansas really, really having a great, great year. Him and Kingston Flemings are both really freshman guards that have hit the scene and really, really blown up. Here's one that I think the NBA people are high on. Well, I know they are. And I want to evaluate a little bit more of him. I saw him play the other night. He's big, physical, got skills too. His name is Steinbeck, Hans Steinbeck, and he's at the University of Washington. He, much like Neo Avdalas from Virginia Tech, you got to keep an eye on both of those guys because they could be top 10, could slip, but most people are considering both of those guys to be in top 15 of an NBA draft. Michael Brown, I keep him in there. He's been struggling a little bit of late, been injured. I'd like to see him recalibrate. I don't know how anybody has Darren Peterson in their list, but some people do. But again, go back to my prediction. I think you're going to have in the zone, they're going to be the same person this year. Rookie of the Year, Player of the Year will be the same one. All right, here's our January surprise, Pete. We're going to close with this. This is what we used to call it in Division III, the January surprise. We hope we don't get a January surprise where they bring in some 6'10 kid that just failed out of some school and they made him eligible immediately because in Division III sometimes, if they don't want to, they don't have to. And so, Kirill Ilatonsov out of Russia, 23 years old, just out of the Russian League, Oklahoma, where the recruits come sweeping down the plain, is going to sign him in January. Again, eligible immediately. That's going to be the new stamp. They've got the NCAA's got a big, big stamp in their hands, and it's rubber stamped, and on the bottom of it, it says immediate. Boom. Eligible. Boom. Folks, Merry Christmas. The one thing I wanted to ask folks today is, how did we get talked off of saying Merry Christmas?
I don't know.
How did we get talked off of that one? Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope you, your family, and everybody that's around you has a wonderful holiday season. And you stick with us in the zone because we're going to keep bringing you that good hoop stuff over the holidays. But also, we hope you and your families have the most blessed of holidays. Pete, from mine to yours, you're in the zone, baby.